Hi, I want to talk a few minutes about file import and export in the MTS simulation software and why we would want to import and export files. So if I've created a simulation and I want to be able to share that simulation with other users, I need a vehicle in order to be able to do that, and our file import and export feature allows you to be able to do that. If you think about file import and file export, it's very similar to thinking about taking a folder full of documents and zipping those or compressing that folder in order to email multiple files inside of one folder. Within a simulation, we're dealing with a bunch of different files. I may have attached a blueprint, I may have attached a clamping, I may have created some unique tools. And if I just copy the program and send that to someone else via email or however we do it, that other user won't have those unique documents that I've created. On this particular simulation, for example, if I look at the setup, I've got this blueprint that we attached. And let's just say we want to go ahead and attach a clamping sketch as well. I've got a sketch inside of my InCAD folder. Plate 5, I believe, is what we're working on. Plate 5 work holding. So now I have a sketch of that. And we've also, in our associated documents, I've attached a PDF that has the program and some other information. In order to do that, we'll get rid of this guy and we'll say File Open. And we have that guy sitting in InCAD as well. We're going to say Plate 5 Set. So now we have this PDF that we've created that lists our tools and contains our CNC program. Any document that you want to attach to one of the simulations, you can attach. It can be Excel spreadsheets. It can be setup information. It can be whatever you want to attach. There's no limit to what type of file you can attach. We have a PDF of our blueprint. We have a JPEG of our clamping. And we also have a PDF that details the tools and the program that we're going to be running. So we've attached these guys to the setup of this program. And also let's create a custom tool. We'll say tool number 1, which is a 3 flute half-inch end mill. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say modification everything. Let me move out of the way over here, and we're going to scan down on this tool. And let's say the length of cut here is 1.25 inches. We actually find that the tool we're going to be using, the LS value is actually 1 5/16, 1.312. So we've created this tool, and we've adjusted a length of cut to 1 5/16. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to say create the modified tool in administration so that if I need to, I can use this tool again. I'm going to copy the name of this tool, paste it, and we'll say 1/2 inch by 1.310 flat end mill. We're going to replace the tool in the current place as well, and now we've created that tool in our magazine of tools so that we can use it again on later simulations. I'm going to say workpiece color, and let's make this guy green again, and accept. And we're going to reset, verify that our simulation is good. I'll turn the speed up a little bit and get through it. And it looks like we're cutting okay. Collision detect is on and we have no collisions. So I'm happy with my simulation, but I have 3 documents attached to this simulation, and I've created a custom tool in this simulation. I want to be able to give this to someone else so that they can evaluate it, or for whatever reason I would want to share this file. So I'm going to say File, and I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to close out of the simulation window, back to the home screen. We always want to go back to the home screen when we simulate. So the name of my program was Plate 5. So what I want to do is I want to single click on Plate 5, the program that I'm working on, so that it's highlighted blue. And I'm going to say File and Export. And now I see that it's exported Plate 5. If I want to do multiple programs, I can. I can say File, Open. And I can go to my NC Programs folder. And I can find the machine that I'm working on. This was in a Haas CNC mill at VF2SS. And maybe along with Plate 5, I want to select one of these other programs, and I can do that. But we're not going to do that today. Just the one program, and that's it. And then we're going to click Next. And you see now I've got attached the PDF set. We've got the work holding JPEG, the Plate 5 PDF, and the tool that we created custom. Had I just copied the program, emailed it to somebody, they wouldn't have these documents to go along with the simulation, so they wouldn't be able to accurately simulate this program. So I'm going to select Next. And now I'm going to look at, where do I want this? Where am I going to put this .nca, or this, in essence, this zipped simulation folder? So I'm going to select a location. We're going to go ahead and just put it right on our desktop. And it's going to be called plate5.nca. The .nca file format is an extracted file. Save, Next, and Finish. And now you see we've created this file on our desktop, plate5.nca. Now I'm free to email this folder. I can put it on a thumb drive. I can transfer this any way you would transfer any typical file. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when we do this. When we are adding documents on our setup page. You notice that I was adding documents from the folder in CAD. We always want to have our associated documents in our local folder that our MTS simulation software is installed. In other words, on my computer, my MTS simulation software is installed on my D drive in a folder called MTS. I have multiple installations of the simulation software on this computer. So I'm going to make sure that I'm using the folder that contains the software, the installation that I'm working on. This one is in MTS 1026 2016 is the way I've labeled it. If you only have one installation of the MTS software, there'll just be an MTS folder. And then inside of that MTS folder, there are two folders. CNC System 8 if you have the simulation, and TopTrain if you have a TopTrain installation. We're going to click inside of MTS CNC System 8. And anywhere inside of CNC System 8, we can save documents. You're free to create new folders inside of here if you want. I like to use the in-CAD folder because these are all documents that I've used inside of CAD, so this is a great storage place for those folders. But any of the documents such as PDFs, JPEGs, spreadsheets, whatever we want to attach to this simulation should sit inside of the native CNC System 8 folder. And I'll show you why that is. If I go back to this simulation and I look at the setup sheet, we'll go into our editor and we'll scroll to look at our setup sheet. The setup sheet is the beginning of the program that's grayed out. It has open brackets, or excuse me, open parentheses. And so this is grayed out, and you see at the end, setup sheet end. So all of this information at the beginning is what we in the MTS world call the smart setup sheet. The reason is because the simulator reads this information. Let me move out of your way here. Simulator reads this information, and there we go, in order to set the simulation environment. So this is telling it which machine are we going to use, the Haas VF2SS, which controller, the Haas controller. And here, what's the name of the project and the time. Drawing identification number. Now this setup sheet is telling the simulator to look in the in-CAD folder and get the document plate 5. Now if I have set this PDF plate 5 in a folder that's not within the MTS software, the other user's software is not going to know where that is. So if I have a file that's sitting on a public server, sitting on my desktop or anything like that, when I export this program, those files are not going to go, and the user that you're trying to send the information to is not going to get those files. Because when they read this smart setup sheet, and that smart setup sheet, instead of saying in CAD or one of the folders inside the native MTS installation, they're not going to have that folder, that specific folder. So always remember to save our documents inside of the native MTS software installation as I've shown you. And then you'll have no problem. So, after we have exported our file, what's it take to import that file? Importing the file is pretty simple. We're going to open our we're going to open our simulator. We're going to simply select File. We're going to select Import. And then we're going to navigate to find the NCA file we want to import. Here I'm going to re-import the plate 5 that we just exported. So I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm looking for plate 5. I'm always looking for a .nca folder to import. And we're going to open that. And so we have our user's desktop, plate 5. You can see that I've got the 3 PDFs and the unique end mill that's been created, so I'm going to receive those into my simulation system. I always like to caution people to pause right here and look at which machine and controller and what's the name of the program. The simulation is not going into the simulator, the machine and the controller that I happen to have open. This is going to go into whatever machine and controller and be called whatever the person that exported it was using. So here I'm going to note I'm working on the Haas CNC mill, Haas VF2SS, and I'm looking for plate 5. I say next and finish. And now I have that simulation. If I look for my Haas CNC mill, my plate 5, I can go into my simulator and I've successfully imported this simulation. I hope this helps. Thank you for your time. Until next time.